from the Skywrath mates, I think. I think we're gonna see the nukes on the off lane.
Well, DK, again, looking to make this 4 in a row on the day. Starting out a little bit slow yesterday, but now looking to finish up. I think this is their last match. I'm looking at the schedule ahead, and unless it hasn't been updated or changed, this is their last match of the day. So a perfect showing today would certainly put them in nice shape. And Empire, I mean, Empire's not out of it by any stretch, but they are falling into that dangerous bottom quarter of the bracket if they lose this, or not of the bracket, but of the overall standings if they do lose this match.
Yeah,
so
yesterday it didn't really matter too much how bad you did. I mean, we've seen a team like Alliance, they went 1-4 yesterday, but in their defense, they did play some of the favorites. They played 5 Asian teams, wherein Newbie and IG was amongst them, DK as well. So it's not the end of the world, and we see Alliance climbing back up the ladder. But if you already had a bad day yesterday, which Empire sort of did, and are continuing that today, this is where it's starting to get really, really difficult.
I think they're 1-2 today, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and that's, I believe they ended yesterday on the same score, maybe 1-3 even. So right now they're sitting very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think they're 2-5.
They need some wins.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I completely agree. That sounds right. I'm pretty sure 2-5 is where they're standing right now. Just a chance to break even today. They do have one more match later today. That'll be against IG, but that's
not an easy
task to overcome. That's not one you can just count on being a W. But anyway, the horn blows, and we've got this game ahead of us again. Very important for both. DK looking to finish the day perfect. Empire looking to at least get back to even before facing IG in their last match of the day. How about we take a look at the lineups, as things are relatively quiet. However, Lanham is being a cheeky little Beastmaster, moving in and dropping a sentry into the dire side jungle.
And cheeky is definitely the best way to describe what he's doing right now.
Look at this. Just hanging out. He's just kicking it and always want to fly right on the other side.
I think he's looking to just disrupt the Enigma and try and steal some of that experience and creep kills, no less, with the axes. And look.
Oh, look at this. Oh, always when a fly's in trouble. He's going to be shackled as MMY rotated over. This could not have been better executed by DK, as they, short of 1 minute in, not only get a kill, but get a kill on an Enigma who you so badly want to have a good start every time he's on the field. And he's continuing to chase the Eidolons just for some extra gold.
That is a perfect rune to get on the Shadow Shaman that early on with the haste. There's no way for the Enigma to escape. Lanham gotta be careful now, though.
Yep.
I think the Eidolon was actually denied by the other Eidolon. He didn't get that level 2 that he was so close to.
He actually denied all of them. All the Eidolons that he would have lasted otherwise. But like you said, MMY making a big difference early on, picking up that rune and coming all the way from bottom lane. He was standing right on top of it, but very well executed. And DK just going to try to shut down the Dragon Knight of Empire early. Resolution usually excellent at getting the most out of this mid lane. He's going to be up against a task now.
Right, and burning on the bottom lane is going to have a fairly easy time against Mag. Again, Razor Souling up against melee heroes is always so very easy just because of how good Static Link is against them. It's a low mana cost harass spell where you gain up your entire damage and of course removes theirs. So right now, Mag is dealing 3 damage per hit.
Burning, trying to farm up the Razor at bottom lane. This mid lane is going to be an absolute battlefield, as we see a lot of movement from supports into such. There's an Invis even picked up by the Nyx. It looks like that was actually eyeballed by MMY down at bottom. But either way, Mag, one of the better off-lane Nyx assassin players you're going to see, really. This is one of the heroes, when he really became popular and people began to realize just how good he was and how good Empire was in the current iteration. This was one hero that he was playing constantly. So he will always get a lot out of this lane unless there's a lot dedicated to it.
I think that's also one of the reasons why a lot of people are questioning why Empire aren't winning more games, because they really have a potent lineup, a very talented lineup at that, and they are sticking to their guns and what they know. They're not actually too dictated by the metagame. Of course, they've picked up the Skywrath mates and the Enigma this game, but we've seen Enigma being played a lot by them, and they still go for these sort of oddball picks. We've seen the Vengeful Spirit on a carry position yesterday, and so I'm a bit disheartened by the fact that they're not experiencing more success than they are, because I feel they're a team with huge potential that I would love to see win and even go to key arena just because of the change of style that they bring.
Oh no, I completely agree, and obviously a big deal for a huge portion of the player base as well. I mean, when you talk about the teams from CIS, I mean, you've got Na'Vi and etc. But Empire just really is a classic name, and there are a lot of people that I'm sure have tickets to come watch the International that are going to be wanting to see Empire in action. So still a lot of time left, but I mean, they've played stable enough that they're certainly not out of it, and they're certainly not completely borked in terms of expectations and how much they have to win. But this isn't quite a must win, but it's a sure sure would be nice to win kind of a game.
Yeah. So right now, as I was talking about earlier, that Empire picked up the Enigma just to sort of match and optimize their farm. But because of the job that Larnem is doing right now with harassing the Enigma, he's not really taking off in terms of level and farm right now. We are 4 minutes in and he is almost level 3. He's finally got his soul ring, which is very slow for Enigma, obviously, with all the harassing and him giving away first blood. That's perfectly understandable. But maybe when you play against a team like DK that is so very good at optimizing their farm and getting their carries up and running and have as much talent as they do in terms of utilizing that.
Could end up dying to iceiceice up here. This would be tremendous if he can get a solo kill. He's going to have time walk. Nope, never mind. Denied. Still yet, being able to take him off the map for a little while. Silent's been farming very effectively up at top. He's number 2 in overall CS. Now he's taking some auto attack damage. He's got to be careful. Void will just beat you down. Yeah, he's going to time walk on top of him, but he does have enough mana, just barely, for a skeleton walk. In the meantime, Mag getting harassed back to his own tower down at bottom. So currently 2-0, favoring DK though.
Very risky play by Silent. He might as well have been best in one of those hits and actually paid for it with his life. So
exactly.
Very, very cheeky. But as I was saying, Empire, maybe they should have gone for a more aggressive lineup where they could actually roam around 2 supports. We've seen that being played to a lot of success, especially yesterday with teams like Liquid and Navi US.
Yep.
Both of them played sort of a roaming style with their supports, and they got a lot of wins off the back of that. And I feel like DK is one of those teams that could be punished by this, especially when they run a Tinker mid, and you already have a DK mid on the mid lane that offers a stun, a disable, and a lockdown. So I think, but that's the problem when you commit to an Enigma pick on your first pick, right? You already determine what kind of lineup you're gonna run.
Yep. I completely agree, and Enigma's really not doing all that excellent either. You take a look at him, he's at level 3, almost level 4, but even the Beastmaster, who has largely been stacking and doing as such, he's at least 2.5. So yes, he is ahead, and yes, it's not the end of the world, but you usually would want more out of him, and you want a bigger impact from him, especially whenever it comes to pushing. Is, you know, part of their plan had to be, we can just push with the DK and with the Eidolons from to demonic conversion from Enigma, but I mean, at level 2, it's not bad, but he's certainly going to want that to level 4 as soon as possible.
Yeah, and the fact that not only did Skywrath mates die on top, but iceiceice is also getting both levels and some farm. He's got a Poorman shield, 500 gold, and boots of speed.
He's got more than Enigma does, man.
Yeah, and more importantly, he's level 6 ahead of Silent. Nothing is really going Empire's way. This is exactly how you want your Void to turn out. I mean, maybe even with the kill on Manscore, that's probably the ideal situation, but I don't understand what they're doing or why DK is getting away with such greedy play.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Speaking of greedy, Beastmaster and Tinker just hanging out here at the Ancients. They had to know this was going to happen. I mean, you have the Beastmaster and the Tinker. This is you can anticipate this, and they could be punishing it. But again, just trying to slowly come online. And the DK is not a team who's going to let you do that without punishing you hugely in terms of the gold lead early on.
And this will allow Larnem to catch up in experience. With these Ancients dying now, he's gonna go well into level 4. We already see MMY on the Shadow Shaman almost being level 5. He's gaining some experience on the middle lane while they're taking down the Ancients. So again, great strategy by DK, giving experience all around their lineup.
And Silent actually got bashed there, but it was after he had skeleton walked, so it doesn't take any additional damage. Mag continuing to sit right in the face of this Razor, and Burning, I mean, he's doing great, don't get me wrong. His CS is top on the board at 48. But Mag is certainly not walking away with nothing. CS-wise, certainly he's hurting a bit, but he is at level 5. Now at top, this is one thing iceiceice has to watch out for. The cast point on Searing Arrows means, you know, he's like, even though you can jump away, you're bound to take 1 or 2 in the back, and the damage is actually quite high at this level unless you time walk them.
Yeah, and the communication was a bit off. I don't think Silent was actually prepared for that, because I think if he was, they could have taken him down actually. Yeah,
I was thinking like with Vanscore that, you know, obviously Magic Missile and Concussive Shot are awesome and super long range. So he just, so long as iceiceice is careful, he'll be fine, but he can't get lazy up here, otherwise he will be punished with the long range damage.
Yeah, especially with Death Pact on a creep, the damage output from Silent is going to be massive.
Oh, here's going to be a rotation of Resolution up to top, and yeah, this is Yeah, I mean, he's coming up, and I don't know what he's going to do. This is just going to open middle lane up for Always Wanna Fly, who is now level 6 at the very least. He has a soul ring up, as well as 1,300 gold for the moment. Mag now making his way out of bottom, and he's almost level 6 as well. So that just goes to show you, the Enigma, usually the fastest farmer, one of the fastest levelers early in the game. Mag has kept right up with him, so I'm not sure if that's Mag playing phenomenal or Always Wanna Fly just struggling.
Yep. Well, Always Wanna Fly is catching up, though. He started out by giving first blood, and he had a hard time getting creeps into jungle. He's now level 6, he's sitting on 1,500 gold, so I think he's just going to go straight into that blink dagger rather than going for the mechanism. Not entirely sure yet. It probably depends on whether or not they get this top tower.
It's going to be a push.
Mind you, iceiceice is actually level 7 on that Faceless Void, so the Chronosphere is up, and Mushi is already reverted back, up to the top. He has level 4 March of the machine, so a Chrono right now is going to deal a ton of damage off the back of March.
We're already seeing, like right there, it looked like, I mean, they even popped the drag form. Uh-oh, iceiceice has been silenced. Do they have the damage? They do not. He is able to time walk away, eats one more arrow, but not enough. Now we're going to come back as Burning shows his face, was teleported in just in case they tried to dive him, and he'll be resuming farm up here. In the meantime, MMY going to be able to rotate to bottom. And
he might actually use the wards and try and push the tower now.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, actually.
With the next wave coming, I think he's gonna do just that. We see Mag reverting on the bottom lane. He is level 6 with the Vendetta, and that TP is coming in the tier 2 tower from Enigma.
Under attack.
Yep, he's going to do what he can, but he should have the sense to fall back here. I mean, Mag hasn't been seen. They know he's level 6, and yeah, he wisely decides to go ahead and take the free damage and not try to press his luck.
Great game sense by MMY, one of the most experienced players in the tournament.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Lanham in the meantime, heading back up to the Ancients. Let's see.
Radiant's middle tower is
oh wow, Mag engaged upon.
Risky Chronosphere.
Yeah, iceiceice. Able to bring him down after all, though. He had Mushi and MMY right there with him. And now they're going to go ahead and resume this push. Even had a couple of wards still.
Mushi already has the boots and stuff, that's why. So those ancient pulls by Lanham on the Beastmaster really gave Mushi the head start he needed and all the gold for both Bottle, Soul Ring, and Boots of Travel. So doing great by all means. He's almost level 9.
Look at iceiceice as well. Look where he's hiding. So he may try to make something happen. This is going to be a resolution. He has Elder Dragon form in 4 seconds or so. But Mushi using his March of the Machines. Let's see. Yeah, he's still just hiding. And yeah, he's just going to go for it. Looking to get a bash. There's a laser. Does not get it on that one either. And looks like that was just kind of a calculated gamble. If they'd have gotten a bash, they'd have committed to the kill. But instead, just falling back and not wanting to overdo it with the tier 1 still standing that far. Burning, in the meantime, has just continued to farm. He has been surpassed by the Clinks, though, in overall CS. In terms of net worth, the Clinks is on top, even ahead of the Tinker.
Yeah, what I love the most about DK, though, is the fact of how well they lane rotate and make sure that everyone on their team gets not only levels but also farms. So we've seen MMY on the roster, while they were taking down the Ancient spot, he got caught up to level 6 on the middle lane, got his Arcane Boots. Now we see iceiceice going on the bottom lane with the Faceless Void. He's sort of done his job on the off lane, and now they're rewarding him through free farm on the bottom lane. So yep. I really love the way that DK goes about this.
Yep, and this is really becoming one of the more standard ways to roll this Faceless Void. EG, for example, does this a lot. They'll start Universe out in the off lane, and he'll just do what he does, and then once the laning phase begins to break down, you commit a few minutes of free farm, a few minutes of experience. But Mag's going to now engage. He's got resolution right behind him. This should be an easy one, and it is, as the Breathe Fire following the Dragon Tail secures that kill at top. Looks like they wanted to make a run at Silent. They do have a Sentry, don't have any dust that I've seen, though. So Silent's still going to be an elusive target to try to track down. But once again, this is where this Tinker Fit comes in. Even though they get a good kill there and they have the potential to push, the presence of Tinker just makes it almost impossible. In the meantime, DK's got some push of their own. Wards deployed up at top, and here comes Mag. Mag doesn't have Vendetta, still about 30 seconds off from that. Silent just doing what he can to farm those wards back out, and one more TP will be enough to maybe force DK back, though. They now have 4 standing here. Enigma with his Eidolons coming back, and Vanscore making his way over as well. Very tricky place to fight, especially at night. Vision a premium for each team. And let's see if DK wants to commit to this. Iceiceice does have a Chronosphere, and Always Wanna Fly is very low. He's going to be jumped upon, badge, and they're not even going to have to use any ultimates as he's brought down for free. Now look at this, Burning caught out at top. There's going to be a Chronosphere that catches through. Silent and Mag eating a lot of damage. The March of the Machines also helping them clean it up. And there's the dust just in case. They clean up yet another. That's 3 for 1 thus far. And now Lanham giving a chase. He's got the boar out, but not going to be able to get in range in time to give any kind of a slow. And DK, though they lose their leader, Burning dropping, manages to not only take the tower, but to punish 4 more as well.
Yeah, and I think Silent is praising himself lucky for having that Death Pact run out right after the Void initiated on him, so he had enough HP to endure through the machines. Very good initiate by DK, a bit unfortunate with Burning standing out of position so that the iceiceice on the Faceless Void wasn't there in time. Burning just tanked up all of that. I think he thought he was a bit tankier than he actually was. He popped that mechanism.
Yep.
Always want to fly the Enigma is also 200 gold short of getting his mechanism, and then both teams are sort of equaling in terms of fighting capabilities. Of course, Mushi on the Tinker is still dishing out so much damage just because of the fact that he can re-arm all his spells.
Lanham in some trouble. He's spotted by Mag and Silent. And they'll... Yep, as soon as he can catch him, there you go. Impale on the mark, and of course Strafe and some Searing Arrows makes that an easy kill. And that's, you know, what we were talking about during the draft. The ability for those two heroes to hook up and just rain horror across the map, and they're going to need to do a little bit more of that. That's a nice kill for them.
Yeah, but especially nice because Silent now finished his Orchid main so he can run around on his own and kill off any target he wants to, even the Tinker. Tinker though, he's gonna have he has Blink Dagger now, so he'll have no issues just standing in the forest and not letting the Klings pick him off.
Looks like there might be a push here in mid. DK does have wards up on MMY if they want to use them. Just going to be 2 though, and yep, he will go ahead and drop them. Tower relatively untouched up to this point. Van scores there along with the Enigma. Always want to fly. Level 8 has his mech up, and just brown boots. And they're going to try to do what they can to stop this, but the power of these wards so early on just can't be denied even with the items. So Tower's going to end up dropping. Nope, it ends up being denied. Very well executed that time.
Second deny from Empire, and I don't think DK is particularly pleased with that.
No, they can't be. I mean, with supports, especially like the Shadow Shaman. Shadow Shaman is one of those heroes that if you start taking towers early, you know, it's the way he's balanced is why he has what he has in the wards. That extra gold just makes such a difference for him. Getting up mobility items and the such just makes him so much more effective, but he may be spotted out by Silent now and will be. That Orchid done on Silent already, and 4 shots and he's down. In the meantime, the Void has opted to go with a Midas, so iceiceice playing for the late game.
Yeah, definitely playing catch-up right now. I think right now the problem for MMY is he was gonna go for that Blink Dagger, but now he's back to 1400 gold. He was sitting on 1700. Obviously a Blink Dagger is great for him to initiate and
top Van score may end up being a death, and will, not before doing a hell of a lot of damage to iceiceice with a Mystic Flare. But DK able to track him down. And though they lost the Rasta, holding down the Skywrath I feel like is even more important than holding down a Rasta if you're Empire. Skywrath Mage, if you can just keep him quiet in the early phases, he starts to feel like he's not that relevant very quickly.
Yeah, also because he's just gonna go down so very fast. He's an intelligence hero, he's not sitting on a lot of HP, so by now almost any hero on the DK lineup could probably solo him if they use their full skill set on it.
Double damage rune right outside of the Roche Pit. And speaking of the Roche Pit, Resolution always want to fly, trying to pull one here. They've got the mechanism and of course can just keep converting the Eidolons, microing them, and they can tank Roshan all the way through, especially with the help of the mech. And it looks like they're going to get away with it as DK is heading elsewhere. They're heading up towards the Dire side jungle. And this is about the most standard trade in the world in Dota. Trade a tier 2 top for Roshan if you're on the Dire side.
Yeah, DK must know that they just came on Roshan because anyone wasn't found anywhere in the jungle. They don't see anyone in the middle lane either, and not in the bottom lane. So it was either that or Empire was standing in the Radiant jungle waiting.
Silent. Headhunting, moving up, and might have a chance to catch someone out from behind. They do get the tower uncontested, but Silent's not going to let everyone get away.
There is no chrono available to them in this fight, so if Empire does catch them off guard, it's probably going to go their way. Beastmaster, however, does have his final war, and he does have a dust of appearance on him as well, so if they suspect that Silent is on top of them, they can get an easy kill off of him. He is going to back off though and just going to go back to farming the top lane.
Yep, it looked like they were setting up to try to ambush them a bit. And this is something I honestly couldn't tell you, as I've never been played at a professional level, but in a game like this where you have so many high damage invis heroes, do you like intentionally run the Shadow Shaman in the middle of your pack when you're retreating like that just to make sure he's not picked off from behind?
Yeah, definitely. You just support your squishy targets. And MMY obviously being number 1 squishy. He actually went for the Blink Dagger, so he has 700 HP, and this is why he went for the Blink Dagger.
Silent. Caught, hexed after the shackles, and that's a very nice kill for them. Looked like Empire wanted to try to help, but could not make it back. In the meantime, though, won't go for naught as they do bring down the tier 1. Here comes DK, though, collapsing down to mid lane. They might have a chance to catch someone. Always want to fly, looks to be the most likely target. Burning, though, unable to catch up, and even if he had no stun. So, Empire able to make it away relatively free that time.
Resolution now also has Shadow Blade, so Empire is really making DK invest into a Gem of True Sight. They have 2 natural Invis heroes, and now a third through the item of Shadow Blade. I'm not entirely sure I agree with that item choice. Maybe he should have just gone for a straight up BKB into an Assault Caress or something else. I don't think this Shadow Blade choice, when you have 2 natural Invis heroes already, is the way to go. Especially not with how gank aggressive the DK lineup now is, with a Blink Dagger on the roster, of course, and then the Beastmaster also with the Blink Dagger. So just sending the Call of the Wild Bird around scouting now, Empire's just, they have to stay together wherever they are on the map.
Yep, exactly. And if there is one bright spot for Empire, it is the Clinks is doing as well as he is. Silent is really going to have to go to work, and has a chance to do so now on iceiceice. Just he can't really do this, though. It's so hard to engage on the Avoid because he still has the chance to backtrack, and
yeah,
that's what.
And another problem is he has to scout out the surroundings first. He needs to know that there are no heroes from the DK lineup to help him other than the Tinker.
Right.
Tinker is an okay target as long as he doesn't have any burst other than, you know, his laser, but once he gets that Dagon up and running, it's too much damage to actually handle for the Clinks.
Everything kind of settling down for the moment. We'll take our first look at the gold grab as we're short of 20 minutes in. It's about a 2K lead right now for DK. It's worth mentioning, but not insurmountable by any stretch. About 1,000 experience, though, is in favor of Empire. So 20 minutes in here, though. Tell me how you think the early laning phase went for both sides according to what you think they would have set out to do, and give me an idea of how you think they're going to play this out looking ahead to the next 20 minutes.
I think DK definitely won the laning stage. They did so well at rotating their heroes and gaining the most experience and gold possible. We saw the fairly early bots on the Tinker, of course Razor getting up his mechanism, and most importantly MMY on the Shadow Shaman, having a grand old time getting both Arcane Boots and a Blink Dagger in a fairly fast manner. 16 minutes in for both of them on a support hero is great. So I think they did very well. There's now a Gem of True Sight up on the Beastmaster as well. The game plan for Empire is really relying on huge black holes. That is one of the only ways I see them winning this game. Silent, of course, on the Clinks needs to follow up with items, and he's doing a great job in keeping up with farm. He's got the Orchid already, he's almost got a BKB, but the problem with the BKB is there's a Chronosphere, there's a Primal Roar, there is of course both the wards and the marts that is also dealing damage. So the only thing he's really avoiding is the laser and some of the disables from the roster.
Right. Well, the laser very important though. I mean, if a Clinks uses strength and gets laser, which is really hurts his combat potential, being a team like whatever else.
Wow, Resolution on the top lane.
Yep.
Hits
Hang on, iceiceice going to be caught, and Mystic Clear. There's a black hole even to secure it. Burning's now left alone. He's got a team behind him, though, but he has to retreat to try to reset. Did still some damage there. Now he'll go ahead and use the mech. Let's see if they want to try to catch him. Silent, though, able to skeleton walk. However, he did get Hex. Mushi ends up dropping under their own tower. Resolution continuing to set up front. There's a ward trap, though, that'll secure the Aegis. Always want to fly, and Silent, very low health, but with Resolution back up off of the Aegis, don't know that DK has the firepower to try to challenge this. The Roar was used, and the wards holding them off at least for a moment. But Empire seems to be in pretty good shape. A 3-for-1 exchange, all told.
A great fight from Empire off the back of a misplay or a very lucky play. So what happened was the Mushi TP'd in, but his blink didn't go off. I think Resolution might have done the most lucky breath of fire that we've ever seen. It hit. He used it before the Tinker landed, and then as the animation carried in, it hit the Tinker, not allowing him to blink away. And so the fight started really poorly for DK, and then we saw MMY going in and getting sort of greedy with the roster wards. He then went down as well. Burning, because of how iceiceice got caught inside all the spells of the Skywrath Mage, Burning was suddenly left to his own device and just had to back off. Right. A good fight for Empire. They used the Aegis very well.
Yep, that brings them very close to even now, and actually extends their lead and experience quite handily. So we're at 22 minutes in, and we've got a tight one on our hands. It did look like DK was going to run away with things after the laning phase, but again, that great fight. Now there's going to be a Hex. However, the haste was picked up by Mag prior to the Hex, so unable to capitalize on that. They're now moving as 5.
And Empire is now picking up BKBs on all of their heroes. There's one on the Enigma, there's one on the Clinks. DK is very close to his 400 gold shy of it. And of course there's the Blink Dagger on Nyx Assassin, which is basically all he needs. It's great getting additional items on the heroes, but a hero like Nyx really only needs that one hero to one item to just make sure that he lands a great impale.
Everyone's sieging down the tier 2 bottom. Empire slowly approaching on the point. Silence going to be coming over. Now there's going to be a roar on the mag, though, as he's spotted and taken out very quickly. And the, oh, beautiful Chronosphere! iceiceice catching two. Mushi already blinks into the side. They're going to always want to fly easily. The ward's already in shape to guarantee any kind of a return or any kind of counter engagement would have been fated. 12-7, and DK might even try to crack high ground here. Looks like that's the plan, as Burning leads the charge. Didn't even have to use Mechanism.
Yeah, I think that's an easy decision to just at least try and hit the tower. I don't think they expected to get it down just because of the fact that once Empire is on, they have everything available to them, but definitely just trying to chop in and then go there. Actually seems to be getting it down. Yeah, I think they're regretting right now that MMY used his wards, because I think they may have been able to even get ranks instead he had them up still.
Very well played by DK.
And again, we see that the Shadow Blade is not offering anything to the Dragon Knight. He gets the additional damage, sure enough, but Lanim on the Beastmaster, he's had that gem with his Blink Dagger for the longest time now, and we just saw him pick off the Nyx Assassin through the Call of the Wild. There's nowhere for Empire to hide.
Tell you something I think I would have just about have rather seen. I mean, outside, I think the BKB should have come first for resolution for sure. But even after that, we saw this yesterday, Maelstrom on Dragon Knight. I think would have really done a lot of work here. The Maelstrom pickup would have added his damage, would have added even more push, and that looks like, I mean, they've tried to kind of make that the plan and execute that as the laning phase broke down, just push towers. Haven't had as much success, obviously, as DK has. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't know. I'm not really entirely sure what the Shadow Blade is really accomplishing as an item. For now, though, things are quieting down. And that exchange, yep, you can see it was very close to getting back to even. But the biggest lead of the game now, owned by DK. In terms of gold, the experience is now just about back to even as well. So how do you counterpunch if you're Empire?
So the intention behind the Shadow Blade is just that he can do just this, that he can Shadow Blade in, catch a target off guard.
Barely able to bring him down. The had always want to fly there to help.
So most heroes go for the Blink Dagger, and a Dragon Knight will, in all games we've seen, I don't think we've ever seen a Dragon Knight go for a Blink Dagger. So Shadow Blade is simply for him to sort of initiate with while still adding some damage, because while being one of the core carry heroes in the lineup, he doesn't really have a big damage output. Yep. So if you want to go for this initiate item that isn't a BKB, also because BKB doesn't really get you into the fight, the Shadow Blade is a great item choice. I just feel like in this particular matchup, it doesn't really hold a lot of power.
Oh no, I completely agree with you. I mean, the Shadow Blade on DK is an item that is one of the more common just in this matchup, and they've got enough initiation to be honest.
Yeah, they shouldn't really have been able to catch Mushi off guard either. I don't know why Mushi didn't blink just into the woods and played it safe. I think he maybe underestimated just how aggressive Empire would continue to be. A bit of a sloppy / lazy play coming out from Mushi. Second time around now that his Blink Dagger hasn't been utilized properly.
Well, Ghost Scepters coming out. Mushi has his up, as we see. That'll be on the way to an F-Blade after the Dagon, no doubt. But MMY also has one up as well. So the squishier targets are now becoming a bit more elusive for Silence. Silence started out great, but for the most part, he's been relatively quiet since then. He's 2-1-3. He has been farming well. He's #2 in overall CS. Yeah. And in terms of gold gain and net worth, Empire's actually in pretty good shape there. They own 3 of the top 4. However, it's just hard. Again, we both agreed on this and talked about this during the draft. DK's lineup has a lineup that's just going to get better and better the later the game goes.
Yeah, neither team is really giving the other team an opportunity to gank each other out. Just running around as 5. You see on the top lane, there's 4 heroes. On the bottom lane, there's 4 heroes. They're gonna go in and check Rose, and Rose is back up. I wonder if they go for it. There is a ward that's spotted out. They haven't removed it with Lanim's gem. They are gonna do that now, but not really a good fight for them to take. Especially does Blink Dagger still not up with the Enigma, so they do have some room to play in. Once the Enigma gets the Blink Dagger, they need to either keep the Void or the Beastmaster out of the fight. But it is a tall order for always Wannafly to actually get off a Black Hole. He needs to hit both of those heroes, or of course Chronosphere being down, at least hit the Beastmaster.
The Empire smoking all the way from their own jungle into the rain. If they have a chance to maybe engage an iceiceice. And it's actually spotted and pinged out, as you can see that ward.
Yeah, that's the problem with running around Resolution breaking his smoke off. iceiceice immediately sees him with the ward vision.
And they're going to go for it anyway. Find someone to track down, and they do manage to catch Mushi. Mushi immediately, though, Ghost Scepter's burning, caught inside of that Mystic Flare. Dodged expertly by iceiceice. Burning back up. BKB's on both sides. There's going to be a black hole that catches Burning, however, and it looks like Empire is going to end up taking a big win again. That's 3-0. That fight a little spread out and a little cut open by the trees and the vision and so on. But they've managed to bring down Burning. They got Mushi despite the Ghost Scepter. And of course the Void, who just doesn't have the damage output right now.
Just a lot better execution from Empire, and the biggest the biggest failure for DK in this particular case was the fact that Beastmaster wasn't standing in any position to spot out Silent. So Silent was standing on top of Mushi on the Tinker and allowed for the nukes to scout him out, blink in, impale, and just focus down Mushi so he couldn't be of any help in that fight. I think he got one march off and then he had to back off. Not only did they get him, they also got Razor, and I think we have to commend always want to fly on the Enigma for that black hole. He kept his cool and said, well, even though I'm 200 HP, I'm still gonna get you instead of... He didn't even use it on the Void, he actually turned around and used it on the Razor instead.
Yep.
So
that was a bigger threat at the moment.
Yeah. Great read from him.
They're going to take an Aegis as well. This time it's going to go on to Silent.
And look at Silent's item choice. He went for a Diffusal Blade, knowing that Mushi's running around with now an Ethereal Blade, but once he goes into the Ethereal mode, he needs to diffuse it so that he can take him down. So great item choice by him.
12-11. Empire holding this one together. DK in the meantime.
I mean, I think they're even pulling ahead.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's exactly even if you look at the gold, actually. And in terms of experience, it actually is massively currently in favor of Empire. At 30 minutes in, how do you feel about DK and their item development? Do you think that we're seeing this lineup reach its potential, or they may be a little bit behind where they'd like to be?
There's a lot of room for iceiceice to build out his inventory, obviously. I think Burning has a decent progression. He's got a BKB in the mechanism, but is not at all close to that Scepter that we usually see. Mushi on the Tinker, however, he's the one sitting on the most farm in the game. He's got the Ethereal Blade and of course the Dagon 1. But the thing is, he's dying in every fight. He's died 3 times now without making any kills happen.
Wards are going to be used. And DK trying to take another tower. This is the last remaining outer tier tower for Empire.
Very interesting though, the supports on DK, namely Lanem and MMY, has a very great item progression for their roles. 3.2k gold on the Beastmaster, who's running around with a gem and a blink deck already. And then of course MMY, he has the Ghost Scepter and additional 1500 gold, so he's gonna go up and buy a point booster, or he'll go for the BKB. I think a BKB will probably be a better choice at this point of the game. But again, Silent, he has that Diffusal Blade, so if MMY goes into Ghost Scepter, he's just gonna get diffused right away and focused down by the Prince, and Prince deals a lot of damage now, especially with Death Pact active on him.
A couple of heroes smoked, moving south from Empire. They're gonna hook up with the other 3. And probably just gonna hook up with Silent, actually. See, knowing that Roche, obviously a long time away, instead they just want to cross into the Radiant jungle and see if they can find anything. Looks like DK, though, not going to be caught unawares. They lost, probably arguably their biggest lost fight of the game when Empire did exactly this. And with everyone missing instead, they're just going to play it safe. Even iceiceice hiding out in the trees, not coming near the creep wave for now. So, looks like a bit of a wasted smoke, but Empire now controlling the jungle. So
Empire's going to go for objectives now. They want to take down the tier 2 towers. They're going to first force out a fight on the bottom lane. They don't have a tier 2 tower to lose on the top lane, so they don't really have to worry too much until it reaches base, which is, I mean, it's actually great for them. Now they don't have to worry about defending the tier 2 top tower, and they can just go for DK's tier 2 towers. If DK doesn't defend bottom tower, which I doubt they will, Empire's just gonna rotate in and try and force a fight either on the middle lane or the top lane afterwards. They want to put this Aegis to good use.
Yeah, looks like DK on the same page. You are, my friend. Certainly aware that something's up. You see Eidolon's pushing, and even though they're doing a decent job of not showing themselves, this tower in half health, they don't have a glyph. Honestly, don't know that it would have been worth defending. Chances, it would have been a dice roll. Chances are the tower would have died even if they had shown up in force.
Yeah, Silence is out looking for pickups right now. He can afford to be a bit cocky in his place. There's still 2.5 minutes left on the Aegis, and if he does find someone shots at the Shadow Shaman, he's gonna take him down very fast. Even if he could land the Orchid and a hit on the Beastmaster before Beastmaster can blink out, that's an easy kill for him as well.
He's maybe moving in the range of someone now. Finds a regen rune, didn't even need it, just denying it essentially.
Silent's gonna run into Lanem right now. Did he see him? I don't think he saw him.
right next to him.
So Lanev's item pickup is really, really good. He's going for the Scepter. He's got the Conquest already and is 400 gold short of completing it. That allows his Primal Roar to be of a lot longer range, and he can really initiate the fight from anywhere. With the Blink Dagger, he effectively has a full screen range.
Hang on, Vanscore in trouble. Caught by iceiceice. Mag's there, but the Impale a little bit too late. He will mana burn him down. Here comes Always Want to Fly. Doesn't have enough mana for a Time Walk. They just need to catch him. With movement speed, not enough to get him away. Force Staff used on Resolution. Ready for the Dragon Tail. And this is a pretty big return for Empire. Losing Vanscore, obviously not optimal, but if you're going to give up a support Skywrath, best to get a hard farming boy.
Yeah, definitely not a worthwhile trade, especially not when iceiceice doesn't really have any big item progression to speak of. He did complete his BKB, so he didn't really lose anything. But he desperately needs damage items as well. It isn't enough right now to have the Tinker, and I don't think Razor isn't really dishing out a lot of damage either. They really need to rely on Static Link coming in big for them. Otherwise, their physical damage is very lackluster.
Well, they're playing in ultra defensive, BKB on the way, and yeah, we've seen that come into play when they lost that fight down near their own tier 2 mid.
Then look at MMY's item choice. He went for a Force Staff instead of anything tanky. He could have gone for Coil Booster, he could have gone for Blacking Bar. Instead, he's running around on 900 HP with a lot of escapability.
They're trying to be a little sneaky now, not liking their chances to fight without Void, and even if Void wore up, he wouldn't have Chrono.
Oh yeah, but this is an open base where the water plays, they need to TP back home right now. MY doesn't have a TP, so he needs to back home.
They've got a Glyph though, and the tower here in mid, pretty free. There's going to be a Roar just to secure the escape of Mushi there.
Oh, no TP on neither Resolution or Silent either, so...
Oh, wow. Never mind. Yeah, this is well worth it. With the Glyph, he would have thought it would have bought plenty of time to finish off that tower. Look at this. They're just going to work. And Mag using the mana burn. Now there's going to be a Maleficent onto burning. However, those Warriors continue to do the job. And what's that?
Lane, Silent was taking off from the Aegis.
Oh, he's going to be... Oh, caught with the Chrono.
This is terrible for Empire.
Oh, my goodness. DK... Oh, finishing him up, and that's Mushi that actually secures the kill that time. However, behind that, they will catch up with MMY. But they lost racks, man. They lost their range racks.
Mistakes were made. Huge strategical error from
Carry
Empire.
a TP, dude. This is pub talk. Well, as it stands, it's 14-13, and DK capitalizing on a couple of questionable decisions from Empire, and they've got to be reeling now because they had looked so good. They'd just taken the tier 2 bottom. It looked like they were going to get a free tier 2 mid. It's like, okay, you're going to drop the wards, whatever. You know, we'll get back and protect the racks instead.
You know, when you arguably have a lead, and the only consolation is that, oh, okay, we didn't lose the melee racks. Then you're doing really, really poorly. They lost the Aegis, they lost the Klings, they got the tier 2 mid tower, but they lost a ranged barracks and almost their melee too.
Well, this is actually great news for DK, because now this bottom lane, I mean, outside of the obvious, yes, there's always nice things that come with bringing down a racks. But, given how split push, you know, at this point, one of the things Empire is going to be great at is continuing to push, especially as you can see, Silent is just doing massive amounts of damage at the moment.
The item progression from Empire is still great though. Resolution now finished his Assault Career, he's sitting on another 1,000 gold. However, Tinker, Dagon 5, Ethereal Blade, gonna be able to take down anyone he wants to.
Yep. iceiceice finally finishes his BKB, and one would hope the next item is going to be one that's going to allow him to do more damage. If he had more damage, at this point, DK would honestly be kind of face rolling.
Yeah, I'm really hoping we see Lanen come out big for DK right now. He's only been involved in 6 of their kills, and he is the main initiator in both lineups, really. He's so good with the Blink Dagger and the Scepter. He has that gem, and he has the Hawk to scout out potential targets. Empire is just not letting them.
No, not really.
Silent now very close to the DK lineup. The Hawk is not gonna see him though.
Oh, for now. Looks like it's DK ready to go on the tower pushing offensive. They really want this last racks, this melee racks, as they've rotated forward down. Obviously, Mushi can come in anytime he wants, as the Boar and the Hawk are both out.
And Burning's not actually going for the Scepter, he's instead bought a Plate Mail, so he's just gonna... Either it's a casual Plate Mail just to get some armor up against all the physical damage output coming from Empire, or he's going in for an Assault Cuirass. Either way, it's not the worst of item choices. I still think they desperately need an improved Eye of the Storm.
Here we go. Smoke out from Empire. This is a huge engagement. If they're able to get the drop on DK... looks like DK, though, just going to pull back. I thought they were going to commit a little bit more to this, but instead pulling all the way back. And yeah, not wanting to overstay their welcome. That's actually a really smart decision.
More lane change coming out for DK. They're instead going to pressure the top lane again. They know they don't have to put too much pressure on the bottom lane from Empire, especially if Empire changes lanes. That lane is going to push itself in, and the creature might potentially just take down the melee barracks of their own if they fight elsewhere.
But yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. We got sidetracked, but one of the big benefits of having, even if it is just one Rax, is just basically being able to set up shop and try to starve out Empire at this point. Take their jungle away. Just focus all your attention on top lane and mid lane, and they always either have to send someone down the bottom to account for it, and they'll be down a man, or they try to come out and fight, and that puts them in a desperate situation where they may be initiating into a
look at this resolution. He has no idea.
Oh, there's the roar. Not even going to use the Chronosphere. However, the Force Staff not enough. Now there's a Chrono. Got two with it. Look at this damage output, though. However, Mushi blows up one from behind, and Resolution forced to buy back right off the bat. So a big buyback force that time. They got Mag behind the fight, too. And that was actually a beautiful Chronosphere, but we're just got a first-hand lesson there. It's like, you better get silent, or you better have someone that can account for him.
Yeah, and Enigma was a bit too far away in the Chronosphere. They couldn't really break through to him, and they, of course, chose to focus down the Nyx Assassin. So Enigma living through this was great for Empire. That meant that DK could not capitalize on the fact that they just took out two of the heroes. Of course, Resolution buying back didn't help that either, but Black Hole's still up and alive. There's still a Black King bound Enigma. He did have buyback as well, but he had a gem of true sight on him that they could have gotten away with. But yeah, the damage output from Silence is huge. We might even see him go for a Blink Dagger later on, just so he can position himself perfectly, because in some of these fights, he may just be, you know, left in a bad position because of the Chronosphere, or just get into the fight poorly and having to run onto his targets, and that's not exactly what you want with that huge of a damage potential.
Well, one issue that arises, though, is when you've got Mushi, who has gone this absolute, blow your face off build. I call it the ultimate shotgun build, the Daggett and the F-Blade. Unless Mushi's the one he engages on, he's gonna have happen to him what happened to last time. It wasn't necessarily to him, but basically he has a huge amount of damage output. He's going to be able to focus down these primary targets, but if it's not the Tinker, he could just get blown apart himself, because he has so far gone pure glass cannon for the most part.
Oh yeah, definitely. Another throw on Resolution. He does
not have
no
buyback. Yep, here comes Mag. There's going to be nope, just going to go ahead and use the Chronosphere. However, Black Hole, iceiceice dodged it, but iceiceice will end up dropping, so getting a little over-aggressive that time, and Empire capitalizing on it in a big way. That was a beautiful Black Hole from Always Wanna Fly, and forcing him away, just trying to force him to maneuver. Burning caught up with, but can they get Mag in range? They can. He will go ahead and use the Impale. Silence behind this, by the way, trying to chase down Lanham. Burning, the much more appetizing target at this point, trying to mech and BKB home. Won't be able to do so. One last Burning Arrow, enough to secure the kill. Mushi, in the meantime, hiding out in the woods, and will be able to make it away. But that is a huge coup for Empire, taking that fight, and not just taking it, but taking it where they took it, in this bottom lane. Now they're going to be able to move out, take a Roshan too.
It was very unlucky for DK as well. MMY blinked in as the Chrono landed, and he blinked in right in the center of it.
Yep.
I'm not entirely sure where Mushi was positioned in that fight. We didn't see that huge burst potential from his hero, and again, they really need to combine this with Mushi. He is the #1 damage output from their lineup, and we just don't see him in these fights. If they'd gotten Resolution, that would have been big. Of course, the entire Empire lineup so fast to his rescue. The Black Hole, it wasn't perfect. iceiceice barely evaded it with that haste inside the Chronosphere, but he got the Rasta, of course. Skywrath mates also landed on him, so there was no way MMY was going to survive through that, and then they got the DK afterwards. I just feel like they really need Mushi to come out big for them, and so far, we're 40 minutes into the game, and he just hasn't.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that was just kind of a wonk engagement to begin with. Part of the problem was they were all engaging up into this area from down south of it. Like, there was no natural way for the rest of the team to get into that.
Well, they do have Blink Daggers on their heroes. That's one of the reasons. The only one that couldn't be there would technically be Burning, since he doesn't have one.
Well, but Burning's so important in this, though, I think.
Yeah, definitely. But another problem is also the fact that iceiceice does not really possess any damage items. He's got a Mask of Madness and a Black King bar, and that's all. And with a Dragon Knight running around with almost 40 armor, that's not really a big problem for him at all.
Yep, like you said, he's got 37 armor, and of course, the BKB as well. And I think Empire is really playing this out well. Every time DK looks like they're ready to start pulling away again, something happens and it's right back to zero. And in fact, because it's happening the way it is happening, Empire's actually pulling ahead slowly but surely. It's instead of 1 step forward, 2 steps back, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back for Empire. Like, they're giving ground, but every time they're gaining it back plus.
Yeah, and you can see Clinks, played by Silent, almost full inventory. He's got a cheese in his last spot. He's sitting on 2,400 gold. Always Wanna Fly sitting on 3,300 gold. He's also full inventory. He's got to give up that soul ring now to add an item to his inventory. He's got a gem of True Sight, and I think he wants to carry that around for the remainder of the match.
What do you think of a refresher pickup on Always Wanna Fly?
That's definitely what he's going to go for.
Mushi caught under his own tower. Now there's going to be a huge Chronos Spear, but the Mystic Flare finishes off the Tinker. He has to get out because Silent is going to work in the back. Lanham has to spin the Roar just to guarantee that he would get away. And that's a gem down on the ground, and we can see it pinged by both sides. So Empire ready to take the tower off of that. Burning and MMY in the meantime, though, are pushing in bottom lane. They sent one back, but that's going to be Mag using the Carapace. MMY eating a bit of damage. However, enough reinforcements are going to arrive. Lanham's just going to go to work on Resolution using the Static Link. Burning.
Yeah, and with that Static Link, he's gonna take down the melee Rex. Flip comes out. I think they're gonna be able to take it anyways, though, with the rest of Waltz.
Buyback
Resolution is so very low, though. He's got the Aegis, so he's not gonna be in trouble.
Catches up with MMY, and he had the Aegis, though. So MMY able to go Scepter out of that damage. Silent, in the meantime, finds a kill elsewhere. Resolution gonna come back up, not in time to catch anyone. And I didn't even see how they got the boy. Looks like they got him in his own jungle. Yeah, here's Silent.
Silent just picked him off on his own through the Orchid, and that's a problem for Void. I think he just bought back in that fight.
Yep. Let's see, did he? No, he didn't. Now there's going to be a Roar on the Silent. Always Want to Fly. There's the follow-up with the Malefice. Lanham getting a little too brave for his own good. And Silent secures another kill. And now in mid, they've got Mushi, Burning, and MMY standing to try and protect the rats.
So Lanham expected that he could summon the door and have Mushi TP into it and then kill Silent something. That was just way too risky of a play. I like how DK went about just pushing the bottom lane, knowing that they would fall short in a team fight engagement, especially because the Enigma bought back. He has boots of travel on him.
Right.
So they could easily force the fight into DK's base because Chronosphere was down on the Void.
You can see the siege is on now and Silent. That massive amount of damage output. With the Orchid, the Refusal, and the Daedalus doing work. Even Burning can't stand up to it. Tier 3 should end up dropping here. And it does. Looks like they're ready to engage out. BKB, you stun Burning, looking for a target, however. Very well-timed retreat.
Yeah, and the ultimate counter to Static Link from the Razor is just having such a huge damage output that you don't care that he steals away some of it.
Yeah, Silent's hitting pretty hard, man. He's hitting for 370 damage right now. And they're going to be able to just lock DK inside of their base for the foreseeable future. I mean, they have the Tinker, of course, but they should be able to just make it so hard for him to go away. By the way, I want to point out this ward they dropped over near the edge of the map, just in case.
And there's so much gold on Empire's lineup. I mean, Enigma just bought back. He's still sitting on 3,300 gold. Silent, of course, sitting on 5.5k gold. He gave... Did he use his cheese? Did he just casually use it? Oh, he gave it to the Dragon Knight.
Yep.
So Dragon Knight sitting on almost 4k gold, have a cheese in his inventory, already a tall order to take down. I mean, even Vanscore, who had the most horrendous start for a support, without boots 10 minutes into the game, he's now sitting on Arcane boots, 4-step, and tons of boots.
They're going to go ahead and pull back. They need to, as the creeps are pushing it a little too hard through that bottom lane.
And both Burning and iceiceice still have no item progression to speak of this. There is 3.4k gold on Burning. He's got that plate mail. Let's see what he opts for, but they desperately need some item progression, especially on iceiceice.
Scotty picked up on Silent.
Wow, so tanky. Look at that. Yeah, 3,200 HP when he's death packed.
3,200 HP, magic immunity. He has silence with the Orchid and the bonus damage, and he has crit.
20 natural armor, and then comes the armor from the Dragon Knight on top of it with the Assault Cuirass. I think what Empire should get right now, though, is a Vladmir's Offering, and an often overlooked item. Plus 15% damage for your entire lineup, plus the armor. I don't know why more teams don't go for that.
No, I completely agree with you. The Vlad's no reason not to in a game like this. Empire in great shape right now.
Yeah, and they need a Hex on the Tinker right now. He's sitting on 5k gold, so he's not far off, but I'm guessing he's saving for the buyback in case they should lose a fight. But even with his burst potential, taking down Silent's gonna be so hard. They need to commit so much to it, and then there's still a Dragon Knight that also deals sufficient amount of damage right now. He's obviously level 21, so his Elder Dragon form is level 3. He's got both BKB, Shadow Blade, and Assault Cuirass, plus another 4k gold, so he's probably gonna add some either a crit or a Monkey King Bite to the mix.
Well, it looks like Empire might just be playing this patiently. It's about a minute and a half now until Roshan's back up. And no reason to rush, I don't suppose.
Nah, iceiceice is now building for that Aghanim Scepter. He's got a point booster on 2k gold, so he's 1,000 short. And everything was looking great for DK at a point,
really was.
but the past 15 minutes has just been a disaster for them. Even when they got the bottom Raxes and played it smart, they just haven't been able to get any kills off on Empire or prevent them from getting farm. All the trades they've done in terms of kills have always been in Empire's advantage.
What they need, I think, pretty desperately is a Scythe of Ice on Mushi. They need some way to reliably deal with the Clinks if they can get eyes on him.
Yeah.
Something to lock it down. He's got 5,200 gold, but obviously buyback a major concern. He doesn't have it right now because he's already bought back once.
We're probably going to see a bit of a stalemate right now until Silent has farmed up buyback. Resolution, I think we've passed the 4 minutes since he bought back the last time around. Always Wanna Fly should be close as well. He's sitting on 4k gold very comfortably. I don't know, Refresher, Lincolns, what do you go for? I really like the Lincolns just because of the raw and Rasta, and you could put it on your allies, so putting it on Silent wouldn't be too bad either.
I mean, like you said, the Lincolns makes a lot of sense just because, like you said, the roar and so on.
Yeah, the survivability, and you saw the Enigma was the first one to go down last time, or the only one to go down, right?
Lockdown, I don't think is, like, the more I think about it, I'm always going to kind of, as a caster, lean towards a Refresher on it, man, just because that gives you such huge big play potential. It's fun as hell to watch.
The thing is, Empire right now, as it stands, have enough lockdown. They got the
that's kind of what I was getting at.
From Nyx Assassin and
I don't think they're that desperate for it.
No, definitely not.
It would be, it's kind of like, okay, you can get something that you do need, or you can get something that would be nice to have.
Yeah,
like
and nothing on DK is so tanky that you need to commit black holes to them over an extended period of time.
Exactly.
They are also very squishy, and I say squishy, they are sitting on 1800 HP, but 50 minutes into the game, it's not really a lot. You see Burning, he's running around with the Sheevis Guard, so there's absolutely zero damage potential from his Razor.
Yeah, he's going to be relying entirely on static link damage. Resolution in the meantime, so 5,600 gold tucked away, man.
By the looks of it, even with a double Rax down on the bottom lane, I feel like Empire is large in charge, and I don't see DK winning this unless Mushi just makes some big plays and great pickoffs. He's sitting on 6k gold now, closing up on that Scythe of Ice and buyback.
Well, like you said,
all the farm is going in the way of Empire.
Has been a bit of a period of passivity. This could change, though, as DK is smoked and is going to head all the way up. They're going to have a chance to catch one or two.
This is a Hail Mary. Look at them. None of them have buyback.
Yep.
If this doesn't succeed for them, the game is over.
Well, they're going to no silence there before long. Skeleton walk 4 seconds until cooldown. Here comes the Tinker, teleport in. And no idea. They were that close to catching one, if not two. Instead, like you said, a Hail Mary that ends up being batted down by some good game sense from him.
Very good read by Silent, taking the only way he could escape in.
He's going to go ahead and go back to work. In the meantime, at bottom, Vanscore always want to fly, kind of do anything. Like you said about Vanscore, he really did have a rough start. But and honestly, his influence on the game has been not as big as you usually want to have, especially, I mean, in 51 minutes, it's not that strange to see a Skywrath fall off. But in the first 20, 25, even then, he was kind of muted. But for the most part, he got the job done as much as he could have, given his start.
Oh yeah, he's definitely done his part in this game. It hasn't really been the most kill-intensive game.
No.
Probably because the two lineups sort of very similar in the way that they approach the strategy in this game, and so they both knew that they had to run around together. Ooh, Silent being called out.
Oh
now.
Yes, he almost ended up catching Mushi, and now Silent in some trouble. Gonna be blocked in, he's gonna BKB, he's gonna Death Pact the 4. Iceiceice catches him though with the Chronosphere, and he's got help around him, he just doesn't know it. Or Iceiceice doesn't know it. Silent will be cleaned up, but Burning now! Hit with the Mystic Flare after the Dragon Tail. Now Iceiceice can't time walk away and will. Resolution there to try to chase it down. They end up trading 1 for 1, but the buyback from Silent is going to allow them to keep this tier 3 at top still standing.
Look at MMY on top though. In the best Admiral Bulldog way he knows how, He's pushing on that base tower again, doing what he needs to do to keep Empire away from their own gates. This is great play by MMY.
Well, the Roshan is up and has been spotted. And certainly going to be something they want to take a shot at sometime soon. DK in the meantime is up there. Is going to be another roar. Oh, silent! Caught out again, and that's going to be no buyback. He's down for 5 straight minutes, and DK, with one set of racks already down at bottom, now has a chance to push elsewhere. 2 solid minutes until they get the clink back up.
Always want to fly on the Enigma. He needs to come out big right now.
Oh, he has
in
to.
these fights. Their main physical damage dealer, almost their only physical damage dealer. As I say that, the DK is running around with almost more damage, but that's because of that double damage.
Oh yeah.
They had to back off from Roshan. I think DK is just gonna make a run for it for the middle lane. They have that Chronos
Let
on the
Bushi split push top. Just let Bushi split push top while they push middle.
Yeah, definitely. I think they should split the top lane though.
They're going to go Rosh.
Yeah, they have another 60 seconds once Rosh is down though. So I think this is a fine move. Bushi can just keep the lane split out and make sure that they can enter either top or mid. This is alive again. What is he doing here?
Well, Bushi coming to help out with Roshan.
Well, he just used ethereal bait on him for another 5 seconds.
So Roshan drops his Cheese and Aegis. It's going to be Aegis on Bushi. Cheese didn't see who picked that up. It's going to be someone trailing behind, not Rasta, so we'll be...
See MMY's movement. He's going for the top lane. He doesn't care one bit about the middle lane. He's saying, let's flip this.
Yep.
There's still 45 seconds on the clinks, no buyback. Definitely going to be able to take it down at least 1 tier 3 tower, probably 2.
Siege is on. It's going to be 35 seconds until Clinks is back up, 0 buyback. He actually borderline died back, bought back and died again, got caught out in his own jungle.
The entire lineup is now running on top, so they're going to take down that tower fairly easily. There is a glyph available.
Here we go.
There we go.
Always want to fly. Needs to come up big, as you had said. He actually is going for the refresher, by the way.
Oh, wow. And Nyx goes down instantly. Doesn't go 5 seconds in this one.
Yep, so buying back, but still.
Glyphs shoes, the range barracks is going to go down in this, I think.
Oh no, Birdie going to be caught in. The Mystic Flare's there. He has Cheese. Oh, good force
no! Oh no!
Oh, look at this! Ice going to work on Vanscore. Always want to flies on the outside of this. Here comes Silent back up though, and he's going to be trying to make it away. Everyone has to blink out.
Retreat, but look at Burning! No TP scroll, he's stuck!
Oh man.
Empire has no way of knowing though, but Courier instantly leaving the base and flying on top of that TP scroll. And they're all standing behind him. We're here. Oh, look at that. iceiceice teammate giving his TP scroll to Burning.
Yep, and because he can get out.
Yeah. Oh my god. That
very well played, guys. They end up bringing down 1 Rax, but honestly, that wasn't nearly as bad as that could have been for Empire. That was still a nice force staff to get him back to safety.
Yeah, they only lost the range barracks, but they do have 3 Rax gone now.
Attack.
2 lanes hurting and bleeding. And wow, Dragonite now finished the Heart of Tarrasque as well, so he's gonna be almost impossible to take down.
Look at MMY. He actually force-stabbed himself to tear down the trees and dropped a ward here.
Mushi's just being a show-off right now, though. He's almost on 10k gold. By this time of the game, he could easily buy his Idolwise.
Yeah. I'm curious why he hasn't. Honestly, I have no idea why he hasn't.
He's got an Aegis up on him as well.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with him carrying the Aegis, though.
Look at MMY, by the way. He's alright here. That's where he lives now. Moved in.
Oh yeah, constant pressure on that top lane. I love that because Mushi can push out the lane without MMI ever having to show, and as soon as the lane enters, he can blink in and place those walls and focus down the racks. And remember, there is no glyph of fortification available for Empire, so if they move out of their base or they're hesitating to defend it, that rack is gonna be gone.
But for the moment, Empire down to their last gasps. They need a big win. Silent dying there. I still feel like that could have been a lot worse for them. Obviously not great that you lost your tier 3 and your range tracks at top, but all told, they're at least still in the game.
And iceiceice slowly but surely actually gaining items now. He's got that scepter already, and he's now sitting on 4k gold. And one thing we've been saying throughout this entire game is how he needs to build some items so that they have a physical damage output.
Yep.
Burning though, still going for a tanky build. He's got the Shiva's guard.
Oh, Mag finds MMY. And brings him down quick with a little bit of help from Vanscore and the Mystic Flares.
So unfortunate for MMY. The reason they put a ward up there, oh, they didn't actually. They saw someone put a ward up there.
No, MMY dropped that.
Oh, okay.
No, that's been there for a while.
I thought Empire may have wanted to put a ward up there just to keep tabs on the Tinker in case he blinked into that position and then caught out MMY. I don't know how they saw him then.
It was a gym.
Oh, yeah, but how did they get vision of him to begin with?
I think they had someone hanging out like right here. I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, I'm not sure how they saw him either. But I'm pretty sure they had someone hanging right there, and because he ended up force-staffing up, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, now last up on Lannon, he's sitting on another 2,500 gold. So DK not out by any means. I mean, they have 2 sides down on Empire. So however much I feel like Empire's in the lead. It's looking grim with the decisions they're taking.
Yep. Well, Empire right now, the issue is they just have 0 map presence.
Yeah, and there's another. Let's see. The buyback status on the Clinks. Oh, it's actually running up now, but he doesn't have the gold to buy back. 900 gold short. Next assassin, of course, 2 minutes shy of buyback as well, and a lot of gold.
Empire for the moment, again, just trying to do what they can. They have to keep this bottom lane shoved out as much as they possibly can. And, you know, again, with top lane now, they have too much to account for. And
yeah, the full bloodstone now completed on Mushi, so he thought that'd be more worthwhile than the Scythe of Ice, and I might even tend to agree just because he can regen so much faster.
Yeah. I don't know, though, having the lockdown now for the Clinks.
But at this point, does DK even want to fight?
I guess not. I mean, like, they've got so much map control, but I mean, they still have to close the game out at some point. And I mean, they could just farm till everyone is 6 slotted, I guess, and in theory, they should be able to easily take a win at that point.
I think at this point, knowing that the good fortification is down, jumping.
They're all blowing Vanscore up immediately. There's going to be always one to fly coming in the Malefice. However,
he went for refresher on those. So big Enigma things can be coming out of this game.
We're going to find out. They're trying to clear off the wards. Now they're going to engage. Let's see if he's got a black hole in him. Silent spotted out. There's going to be an Impaler Cobb too, and the Faceless Void catching Resolution with the Chronosphere. However, Aegis has popped off. Silent. And always want to fly is looking for something. There's the roar right in his face. Resolution coming out to try and help his buddy out. But there's going to be one black hole onto Burning. But he ends up dying amidst the channel. Burning, though, left behind and dropped as DK buys back with 2. And the immediate buyback out of Empire as well. Landon's going to be able to TP away. But the racks are still standing. And didn't even have to use the refresher.
No, that's actually curious to me. Why did you use the refresher?
Well, I mean, there's no reason not to, because it's just like,
yeah,
it's just wasted time if you don't. But I'm talking like, yeah, the fact that Empire, man, there honestly wasn't even that big of a play there. Mag's 2-man Impale was kind of nice, but for the most part, I just feel like DK kind of misplayed all that.
Yeah, what I thought they would have done was have iceiceice blink in, Chrono sort of shut them off the racks, and just have Raster Wards go to town on it, and you know, just do a huge trade for those racks.
Yep. Instead, Empire keeps breathing. This is now a 60-minute game, one of the longer games.
The biggest problem for DK, as long as they don't have the Scythe of Vice up on the Tinker, it's gonna be so hard to take down Resolution. Silent isn't even the biggest issue right now. Well, of course, damage-wise he is, but Resolution, how are you gonna deal with a guy with that much HP and armor?
Yep.
And he's sitting on 6k gold. I wish he would buy up a Daedalus or something.
Yeah, he really does need damage. Having damage on him would make such a difference. Silent leading the way.
They're gonna make a run for it for the middle lane now. Always want to fly though. No buyback on him. No buyback on Tinker either.
A 5-man smoke. Empire. Oh, Lanham. Ooh. Came very close. He's gonna come out. And Vanscore has his. Yep, it's immediately pinged out.
We might see MMY sell his arcane boots or disenchant them for a boot to travel and just play a rat style Dota.
We'll find out momentarily. As Empire laying siege a bit now, this is a position they haven't been in a while. Being able to exert their own presence, but it's not going to last for long. Bottom and top lanes are pushing, so they have to decide right now what they want to do. If they're going to go for it, they got to go soon, because look at this big wave heading to top that's going to end up bringing down that melee racks if they don't back soon, and at bottom the same thing's happening. Are they going to go for it, or are they going to play safe? Looks like they want to get aggressive. Yes, they're going to go. Mag manages to catch Burning, coming in. Mystic Flare though. Oh, beautiful! Unbelievable Chronosphere. Mag's cleaned up from the outside. Resolution down to half health. Burning sapping all of his damage behind that. A black hole catches Mushi. The damage might be enough, and no, Roar comes out a little bit late. Always want to fly. Going to be caught with the shackles afterwards. Back at the base, though, the tier 4 is down. We're going to see that Rax die. Empire got a little work done, but not nearly enough, and they end up losing a hell of a lot of ground on the back of a phenomenal Chronosphere coming out of Ice, Ice, Ice.
I think it's safe to say that Empire actually still were the victors of that fight. The problem is that their base was being seized so hard. Always want to fly, almost dying to creeps now. So they lost the tier 4 tower by doing that fight. They committed the black hole to taking down the Tinker, and while the taking down the Tinker is great just because of how he bought back not so long ago, he does have that Bloodstone that'll allow him to resurrect in time. And they were also very low that they couldn't engage into the base. They couldn't even get Raxes even though they were exposed. Yeah, but definitely a great chrono from iceiceice.
Oh man.
Getting 4 of them in the chrono and completely shutting the Enigma out of it.
Yeah, I mean, bringing down the Tinker was nice, but like, it was an afterthought by then. The damage had been done.
And iceiceice actually went for the Refresher Orb.
Yep.
So no damage output on him, well, some damage output on him, but more importantly, a double lockdown in the chrono. 12 seconds of disable.
I mean, at this point, I mean, I still feel like he could benefit from more damage, but Burning, at the same time, has gone defensive too. So DK instead, relying on Mushi to be their walking, talking, pew-pewing glass cannon.
And DK has slowly but surely become the favorite to take this match now. Look at Larnham. He's sitting on 4,500 gold.
Resolution finally buying some damage. That'll help immensely. Silent has been sitting on the same items for a long time. Can upgrade his defusal soon if he wants to, but wanting to use up all of his purges before that. Silent might have eyes on someone. It's Mushi. Got help coming. And oh wow, he and Mag trying to find someone. Instead, DK able to slink away, none the wiser.
This next team fight is gonna be so decisive.
Yeah.
If Empire loses it, they're probably just gonna lose the game because of how exposed their throne is.
Well, they can't do what they just did again.
No, exactly. On the other hand, if Mushi on the Tinker goes down, his Bloodstone is only on 4 charges now, so there's gonna be a long time before he's back into the game. His buyback status is up in 1 minute though, and he does have sufficient gold, so it's still a very, very hard game for Empire, just because of how poor their base are right now.
Burning's actually picked up a Talisman of Evasion as an on the courier.
Did they actually... When did they lose the melee racks on top? Did the creeps just push that in while they were fighting
on top? No, they used the tier 4 whenever they committed to that fight, and then they lost the melee racks up here too. Wow, that's been down since
So
then.
that fight was definitely in DK's favor.
Oh, no, exactly. That's what I was saying. They, Empire, yeah, they like you said, they got a few things accomplished, but both lanes, and look already at bottom. Like, they can't leave the base. Like, if I don't know what the plan is.
Yeah, they desperately wanted to take roads. They actually need to sit in their base, get BOTs on all of their heroes, and hope that DK runs in with a very bad team fight.
In other words, hope and pray for a mistake.
Yes.
And doing that against a team like DK is low percentage.
That was what in the mid game though.
Oh, hang on, Mushi! Hit, and now he's going to BKB and try to get out. He's actually going to turn around, almost goes and score. Mushi's still alive, but barely, and now, yes! They managed to bring him down. Behind that, there's a Chronosphere. Always want to fly, trying to get a black hole off, and can't. He's going to end up dying behind it, and iceiceice going to go ahead and leave as well.
Cancels his TP.
Burning. Now in some trouble. Empire looking to catch him. And the damage output of the Tinker cannot be denied as he gets one more kill. Buyback from Silent.
For the throne. Look at MMY.
Oh wow! MMY behind the fight. Trying to just go straight for the racks. Now we're going to see Mag caught, but iceiceice could be in trouble. That damage output from Silent, just tremendous. The throne down to about half health. Lanham and Burning walking around trying to keep this pushed in. All lanes are pushing so hard right now, but Empire manages to weather yet another storm. They actually have the kill lead. And yeah, you can see that everything is basically even at this stage of the game. So right now,
it is an easy win for DK though. All they need to do is make sure that their middle lane is pushed out, and there is absolutely nothing that Empire can do.
Yep. Well, I mean, at this point, you can just about BKB and rush it. It is at half health as we saw, but that was so close, man. Over in this side shop, almost saw Mushi die, almost saw Van score 9. Now Silent, caught by Mushi at top, but able to BKB and scurry away to safety.
Remember though, no buyback on Mushi, so you can't, no buyback on either of them. So of course bringing down Silent means winning the game, but bringing down Mushi as well, maybe we'll see a run for the throne. The problem with that is that their throne has no towers, and there's a Rasta on the enemy team.
But there's still stuff standing. Like, I mean, right now, like, they've got the tier 3 mid down, but yeah, they basically would have to go with a desperation push
There's so many ways that DK can just shut this game down. I mean, it just winning through items. You can add a Necromicon and just send it into their base, and everyone BOTs onto it and just focuses down the throne. There's no Blipper fortification up, so there's several ways of just going all out.
We're going to move into Roshan while they have the opportunity.
Double BKB on Silent now. He's going to put one of them on the ground with Rose Pit and take off that Aegis.
Up here comes Mushi going to work on Silent BKB, so there's going to be a roar onto Resolution. Another roar off of the refresh. Silent, can they bring him down in time? They can! DK ready to put a nail in this one. There's going to be a black hole that catches two. Damage output just isn't there. Impale caught one. Mushi going to work with the pew-pew from the high ground and Lana. The next one to drop DK. Coming out on top, refresh.
I hate to say it, but in the dire phase, we have MMY doing what he did all game. Probably one of the reasons that DK is still in this game after their mid-game mistakes. Yep, placing the wards on the throne, and they're just going away. Resolution had to buy back, and is gonna go to work on the wards right now. Tinker's coming in though. The throne, 400 HP, 300 HP.
Count it
200
down.
HP, 100 HP.
100. GG. Empire and DK in a nail biter. A back and forth slugfest and a pause because why not? Savor the moment, I guess. DK though pulls one out, and a heartbreaker, an absolute heartbreaker for Empire, who wanted a win here to draw even on the day, looking ahead to their next match, which will be against IG. Instead, they fall to 1-3 on the day, while DK improves to a perfect 4-0 to finish out day 2 of play. What a game, man!
Yeah, if I were Empire, I definitely wouldn't be pleased with losing this game. This was theirs to lose. Even with their Rexes down on the bottom lane,